In this video, I'll give you a few hints how to best prepare your application for different screen sizes and form factors. If you look at your application in the graphical layout in different screen configurations, by selecting one of the pre-configured devices from the drop-down list, you already get the impression that it looks quite different on the various devices. Let's pick an extreme example, this 10.1-inch screen in wide XGA. Let's maximize this view. Click on Zoom to Fit. And as you can see, the actual information of this app looks a little lost on such a big screen. You can also turn it to landscape view. This would actually be the size of the Motorola Xoom, the first 10.1-inch tablet, running on Android 3.0. As you can see, you can get rid of the status bar, and what are hardware buttons on Android phones are touch areas in Android 3.0. So to handle this, there are two possible solutions. First, restricting your application either to a specific Android version, double-click on the Android manifest, by, for example, specifying in the user's SDK element a maximum SDK version. In this case, for example, a value of 10 would prevent your application to show up on the Motorola Xoom. You could also add a support screens element in the manifest extras and set the screens you want to support to true and those you don't want to support to false. This, unfortunately, would also rule this out from being shown on the Galaxy tab. But again, here you can restrict for which devices your application will show up in the market. I remove this again. The second thing you could do is providing different layouts for your application. So, for example, you may want to provide some additional content for larger sizes or rearrange the way the information is displayed. You can simply create new Android XML by clicking on the wizard, entering, for example, main.xml, and, for example, provide this main XML as a layout for a specific size by clicking on Size and transferring it to the field Chosen Qualifiers by clicking on the button up there and selecting its screen size, like this. Android then creates a new layout folder for you in which you can drop the layout files for this specific screen size. Now the cool thing is that from the Java class, that really makes no difference. The Java class only knows that it wants to retrieve a main.xml. So if you're running on an X large device, it will be handed the main.xml from this folder. On any other screen, it will default to this one. So that way, you can create a UI for all different kinds of differences. For example, if you want to have a special layout for more square-like screens, which are not long. Or maybe you want to provide some different screen colors for the night mode. You can enter that here. And what counts for layout, that counts also for all the other categories of resource XML. You see? For every one of those differentiator features you select, it will create a separate folder. Even so, if you combine them. And that's one of the most powerful features of Android, and certainly enough to learn for a whole different workshop. In the meanwhile, I encourage you to experiment with those differentiators.